Hello, hello, hello. I kind of made a fuck up. I made an oopsie. Yep, I really screwed this one. So it turns out I left my mic muted on the recording program for the whole complete history of Andorn. But don't worry, I was able to record everyone else's voice except mine. So this really isn't the view with Uni, it's more of the view with Andorn, which kind of it already was supposed to be. Shadow and some of the other guys are going to sound like they're schizophrenic though, because they're going to be talking to themselves and laughing a little bit. Just remember that my voice is supposed to be there, but it's not because I fucked up. Something before this that was just a huge blank part that you would have missed is that Coop, he won a $20 Steam gift card from the prize wheel, and I made sure to go ahead and deliver that to him. So, yeah, I learned I need to check to see if my mic's muted before recording a whole 3-hour view of just my Discord. But yeah, so on with the video.
Alright, well, I'm Shadow. You could also call me Lucius. I am the current Kaiser of Andorn and currently Emperor of Bardonia as well. And I'm joined here by Charlie.
Hi. I have two positions right now, and one's is Kaiserin of Andorn. The other is Diarch of Knossos.
Yeah, Pogbar.
I'm not sure how Andorn started, but I do know is that Hemo brought Crow and Thunder with him, and when he joined the server, and they created pillars. And I don't really know anything much about that until I came along. After I joined the Hands, I found that Thunder and Dotto were in Andorn, so I wanted to join Andorn because it seemed fun and very chill, since those two people were chill. So that's pretty much all. It was like Hemo S401. I was there at the Tizu Delacher wedding, which took place in Pillars. No, I don't. I don't know very much about that. All I do know is that they wanted to run it like a Western European monarchy, a Western European kingdom. That's basically where the idea came from. It was like, okay, what's like a typical Western European kind of sounding name? Why they chose Andorn to be the name. I know I don't know anything, but I do know that the name Pillars of Sun was supposed to be related to the religion that was gonna be there, but Hemo never worked on that past its foundings because nobody else wanted to really work on that but him.
I'm pretty sure the religion got picked up by Alderashi at some point.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure Hemo's religion, nobody else knew anything about it except for him, and he didn't release any documents concerning it.
No.
That's why I don't know anything.
Oh yeah, it did get picked up by Alderashi.
Well, I have no clue how they know anything about that, so that's entirely possible. I don't want to accuse them of that.
Alright. The oldest point would definitely be when, like, Charlie arrived.
So the stuff I had just described to you, that's the oldest stuff I know about the kind.
No.
That's the.
Sadly, Thunder's not able to, and we don't want to bother Hemo.
And I'm pretty sure Hemo wants nothing more to do with Stoneworks.
We don't want to. We don't want
to bother that
Hemo.
person.
Already, it's only been a couple minutes. All right. Well, frankly,
I'm not sure exactly how much happened or what exactly happened that far outward, but I do know is we started working closer with Thunder, and Thunder would just ban it because of the adrenaline. I remember him telling me that way back in the day. He was like, I just do it for the adrenaline, and it's really fun. And so we started stockpiling all the shit that we'd get from bandits or other people that we would kill up in his lair. And I had access to that. Yeah, it was above pillars. It was a big glass like platform with a lot of barrels. I worked more closely with him, but before I moved into, I didn't actually move into Pillars itself. My base was set outside of Pillars in a big mountain where modern day Wivamovia had originally settled, like Indominus and shit. That's where they had settled, and they had settled on top of what I had. I had a little like dugout there, and that's actually the place where all my shit was when I got banned first time. So I hung out in that underneath that little mountain there. All my shit securely inside the mountain. I came to Andorn. Andorn was not actually being ruled by Hemo. It was being ruled in I believe it was a 3 or 4 person like dictatorship with Thunder, Potassium, Thunder, Potassium, Crow Spork, and there was, I seem to remember there being someone else. Maybe not. Actually, no, Dotto. Dotto was one of the dictators of Andorn, 4-person dictatorship. During the time that I joined, there was some drama concerning Potassium, and she was kicked out, and Potassium went to Serafini. That'll be important later. So they were planning, and they were all, during that time they were planning a little sequence where they would break Hemo out of prison. Not with breaking him out. That was Rum Night. Maybe, I don't remember anything about that. But I do know is that Dark was originally going to protect the cage. I actually don't remember who protected the cage, but I do know there was one person that got absolutely slaughtered. But I do not remember who that person was. I believe what Hemo had said the culture should be is a Western European feudalistic like dynasty. I mean, I guess they had a 4-person dictatorship, but you know, having fun is having fun. I don't really think it had like a unified, set in stone culture. Although Pillars did dominate the entire region, and
it was Pillars.
if you want a real life comparison, it's like Moscow to the rest of Russia. But and like squatter settlements, back then nobody like really concerned themselves about the squatters because they didn't have any strength behind them, and it was before and that was before the first Redfire Rex video that blew up, so there was no real problems concerning squatters. I'm sorry SK, but the cum cave comes way later.
The cave, oh no.
Jackhammer Jack and True Hogan. I'm pretty sure Jackhammer Jack is one of Hemo's friends. And I don't know about the... There was also Sapphire, and he was one of the builders, but I don't know what his connections were. I think he helped build the giant church.
Yes, the giant church and Pillars.
A large majority, actually no, pretty much 99% of what Pillars looks like today was completed by the time I had reached Andorn. So I was a latecomer to Andorn and everything. So, and before then, if you look on really old maps of Rathnir, like the original Big Kahuna, if you look at where modern day Pillars is, you can see that it's a giant birch forest. They cleared out the entire thing. It was about like 300 and 400 blocks by 400 blocks of birch forest that they cleared out.
Yeah, Birch
Oh, hi,
Force is the
Dotto.
worst force.
If you do want to say add anything, you may.
Yes.
Shut the fuck up. You ain't no one like.
Something.
You heard me. Fuck you. Oh, bitch.
What about
Yeah,
what?
you heard.
What do you mean, Dotto? I
What
mentioned
do you mean,
you.
Ryman?
I talking about you. You at least wanted to be mentioned, so I decided to, as you
You
rightfully
better
should.
mention me, you fucking loser.
I don't know much of what you did, but I do know you were one of the dictators. So
Yeah, I dictated your mother.
no, you did not.
God. Maybe it wasn't a good idea.
Shit. Okay, hold on. Where that? If you visit, fucking Pillars, there is this slums there. I don't know who the fuck built it. I think it was Crow. But before that was like this flower shop, which was pretty fucking nice looking, and then I had like a dog house. I don't remember a single fucking thing about Pillars. I'm just speaking out my ass here. But oh yeah, the llama. There's a fucking llama over there in the slums.
The
It's a
floating llama.
fucking yeah,
I
it's a
remember
fucking
the floating
floating
llama.
llama. Fucking, I got Hemo to die from it. It's hilarious. Holy fuck, that's my dog. It killed someone. It killed someone.
I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Actually, no, I'm not sure. And it could have been Hemo or Thunder. It's a 50-50 or both.
Yeah, so floating llamas and pillars.
Floating llamas. There you go. Something you didn't know before.
Yeah, it's floating.
Yeah, you had it by a little what do they call it? A lead. You took a lead.
Yeah, it
And
was just sitting
there
there
was
like on like a leaf,
yeah,
just hanging.
there was a like a what you put leads on. What are they called? Fences. It was it was on like the ceiling of the little overarch. So it was hanging from there, and then we managed to boost up enough momentum to kill somebody, and then they were getting off of the horse. So, oh yeah, it was a very interesting glitch. It was a very interesting glitch. So it's kind of like your memory with the chickens in Vardonia. Yeah. But most of my time in Andorn following this is basically me banditing with Thunder, and eventually the peace comes. I don't remember when the peace happened. It was probably early February, something similar. But there was a peace time. It was one of the many peace times Rathnir has had, and this was preceding the video by RedFireX that would blow up and make Rathnir explode from like 40, 20 players to almost 300 or 200 or something silly like that. But the Serafini, the day before the truce ended, the Serafini, 5 Serafini people, Willia Fishworld, Jack W, a couple of others, were supposedly chasing refugees in Andorn that Hemo had accepted. And they walk in, all right, and they start thinly veiled threats against us, probably waiting for the truce to be over, so that way they could jump us and kill us. And Hemo told me to kill all of them, because he thought they were after the refugees. So I killed all of them except for one, and he was hiding in a hole. So he's a little bitch ass motherfucker. And if he ever watches this video, I hope you know you are a pussy for teleporting your friends back to the front line instead of fighting me. All right, it's better to go die fighting in honor than to teleport back your friends. But only one of them was a netherite. I killed him when he was trying to retreat out into the forest. And the rest were in diamond, and I killed them too. Now it was a bannable offense to kill people during the truce. So Hemo decided to just take the ban for me because he was the one that told me to kill them, and I wouldn't have killed them unless he told me. It was a week. I'm pretty sure it wasn't 2 weeks. It was a week. Oh yeah, it was lower to a week. It was in total a week. So he took that, and I'm pretty sure that ban is what got him out of Rathnir, thank God, for the most part. He did come back a couple of other times for a little bit, but afterwards it wasn't really the same, and it went kind of on a downward spiral from there. But while Hemo was banned, the shenanigans aren't over yet, because then I would get banned for the first time, and Thunder would basically be the only one in pillars for a large majority of the time. Thunder and Dotto, pretty much, and that was it. And I'm mad at Thunder for this. Is he in the VC? Yeah, Thunder's in the VC. Thunder, I still hate you for this. Why did you enchant my main netherite boots with Depth Strider? Why? I told you beforehand that I didn't want Depth Strider on my netherite boots. Jesus.
No, Thunder's silent.
He knows what he did.
Crowspork?
Let me go look it up on NameMC.
Crowspork, what is it? 66?
Crowspork.
Yo, Hemo's in the chat. Hemo's in the chat. Hemo's in the chat.
Hemo S403.
No. Don't grab him. Not unless he wants to come up.
Hemo.
Don't grab him.
I don't think.
Wow. I came even later than Charlie. Way later.
So the shenanigans doesn't end there. Basically, the spirits went after. We're not going after Hub directly. They were going after Jack, and Yaki was a little insider and got Jack's trust. And Yaki told Jack to hire Hub to kill the spirits. Now, we didn't know, none of the spirits nor me knew this at the time, but Yaki was doing that deliberately in order to get Hub killed, because Yaki knew it was all of the spirit buddies on the other end. So Jack hires Hub, and Hub teleports over, because this one-hit teleporting shit, or slash TP was a thing. So he teleports in, and he gets instant damage 2'd twice by Geodas, and then he gets chased down, and he falls into a ravine. But G-Joy blocks up the water, leading back up, because there was a little waterfall, and Hub dies there. Now, majority of us got banned. Most of the spirits only got banned for a day, and I remained banned for a month because I just didn't have the strength to go and repeal it. During that month, it was only Thunder and Dotto alive, and Hemo would only get on every once in a while. But after that, a lot of my knowledge about Andorn and what it was going through basically disappears. I don't know what happened. Probably Thunder does, but I'm not sure if he wants to speak. But I do know after all of this, it was when Arlenor and Ryzan unified for the first time, creating a dual monarchy system like Austria-Hungary.
Yes, Canadian toss
and
and coffee.
cereal, yeah. And Hemo. I talked to Enfys to get unbanned, and he unbanned me, of course. Very happy about that. And then this is the part of like Rathnir history where I just stopped attacking people because there were rules with bandits and applications and all that shit. And I didn't want to do anything about that.
I think at the time Hemo sold Andorn to
Hemo sold Andorn for 500k to Canadian Toss, and he transferred ownership of the claim to me, and this is when the Westmarch War happened. So, Uni declared, and Andorn the Ryzan Empire proceeded to collapse in the matter of an hour, a real life hour. Coffee secedes from the Union. Andorn declares independence and then merges with Bardonia, and that's where Bardonian hands in Andorn in the far north start really beginning. Even though they essentially begun with Tizu. But this is when it starts getting for real. There are Bardonian officials talking about what to do with Andorn, and what precipitated me really wanting to push you to go to war with Ryzan is because they were just carved. It was because Canadian was talking with high Ryzan officials to chats I had access to, by the way. He was talking to high Ryzan officials about carving up the newly gained Andorn territories amongst core Westreach territories. He's talking about dividing them up amongst the holdings, being like, no, this is the natural expansion route. And I was like, no, this is Andorn land, and that's what really pushed me to want to make you go to war with them, so that way Andorn territorial integrity stayed intact. Because if he was able to just annex that land, then Arlenor and Norththorn could just retake their land as well. So that's more modern history. But yeah, that's probably a large portion of why a lot of Ryzan high officials became very disoriented, because they were trying to get Andorn land, and then when it became clear that you weren't going to let that happen, they were like, oh well, it's probably just better to betray a Canadian anyway. Especially since they were going to war, or you were going to war with them anyway. But going into this is when people like Heli and Indominus or Vivomovia,
Yes.
Sconia, and Savra started entering the picture. Now, funnily enough, all four of these people all came to me, talking to me about all the shit. I didn't go looking for them.
Yeah.
And I even put down signs around a large amount of Andorn, going, "Hey, contact me on Discord. Contact me on Discord." And funny enough, no one from those claims ever messaged me on Discord. There was a large fort in the north that I put a sign down saying that to talk to me, and they didn't. They never did. But the rest of them all came to me, and Heli is the one that you remember, because they were just coming into the public Bardonia chat going, what you're annexed our land. No, it was Andorn land. You're in our independent, even though they never declared independence.
Yes. Okay, yeah, basically this is the time where I actually came into this picture. I was there at the first day Sabris became a thing, and it was actually really funny how I joined. I joined the server to be a void cult. I won't lie. I was going to do void cult. I don't know. No, like I had no knowledge of the server whatsoever. I just joined. I'm like, okay, where's a void pit? I will find a void pit. But the thing is, at the time, I was really bad at coordinates, so I didn't know where the heck I was going. And earlier before that, that day, I met Hernichi, I think in the Discord. And I then decided, you know what? Change of plans. I'm going to go join him, and that's literally how Sabris actually started. It was me, Hernichi, the worst Ian, and a couple of two other dudes, which sadly they kind of dropped off the face of the earth soon after. But yeah, at this time, so Savros becomes a thing. You have Dragon and Heli. Sadly, there's not many Hellions left. They all kind of dropped off the face of the earth too, except for Chaos Creeper. She's down in Arlenor. But yeah, and then you also have Wivamovia with Indominus leading it, Bizazone? Is that how you say it, Charlie? Bizazone?
Bizazonen. I always called it
Bizazonen.
Bizazonen.
I'm going to call it Dagul because that's kind of what squadrons that took it over call it.
It's
Charlie?
Charlance.
Charlans.
It's my actual Discord name. If you click on it, and there's a little name below it that's great. I don't think I had an original. If you looked at the one from 5/12/2021, it's on the second row to the left, to the far left. Yeah, little blue. That's the one I was using.
All right, and basically, so as said, like all these states like approached Charlie, and kind of became a thing, and each one either like kind of on the map, either showing up or not. I think was it only Savers and Heli? Well, no, not Heli. Savers and Wivamovia that showed up on the map first, wasn't it?
Wivamovia showed up first.
Yeah.
Skonia showed up second, and then Heli showed up third, and then you showed up last.
Yeah.
And the reason being is not because you weren't there, it's because Savras was the most loyal city to Bardonia, and wanted it to stay, or their land to stay in Bardonian hands. So that's why they showed up on the map last.
Oh yeah. And so basically you have all these like smaller states kind of showing up in Andorn at the time. And it was all well and good. They were all vassals or were directly tied to Bardonia and Andorn at the time. But that kind of turned on its head after the Ferryman War, which you very much remember that, don't you? Mm-hmm. In which you die. And actually, wait, before that, me and Hernichi attended your coronation, I believe. Yes, it was. And yeah, that was fun. And basically, just right after the Ferryman War, and so you're no longer emperor, and the person who gets it is none other than Jack W. Freaking Jack W.
Remember, he was a part of the Serafini who tried to come and attack Pillars of Sun.
Yeah, so Jack W is just gonna just keep showing up, I guess. But
I think this is the last time he does.
Well, in Third Empire he shows up, but like for Andorn specific, this is the last time. In 2 minutes, Jack W completely collapses the Empire, and this is what like people in Andorn like to call the Andorn Crisis. Of when like basically so Jack W goes up and says, "Hey, vassals, you're all free."
Any vassal that wanted to go free and wanted to believe that took his word.
So Wivamovia, Heli, Dagul, because I'm never going to be able to say their original name.
Wivamovia. Oh no, Bizazonen.
Bizazonen. And then also even Savers. All basically were free, and they all eyed up Andorn territory as like free real estate. So it was a massive power vacuum all of a sudden.
Because I know why it's such a big power vacuum is because I did not try to reassert Pillars of Sun as the originator of Andorn vassals. Instead, I referred to all vassals to be subservient to Durastarok and not Pillars. So I didn't try to assert capital or Andorn capital authority after the Ferryman War because I was very demoralized.
Oh yeah, and at this point, Savers this is kind of when Savers kind of came into the role, which Hernichi came to you, didn't he? Charlie?
Hernichi, I don't remember exactly what Hernichi wanted or like was saying. If I go to my DMs with him, is Discord still Croatia? What is
No,
it?
no. Wait, he's here. Sanacandro. That's who he is right now.
Sanacandro.
Yeah, he's in the chat right now, actually.
Message.
But
Now,
he can't
let me
be.
scroll up real quick.
Yeah, at the time, Hernichi was named Albania on the Discord. But basically, what ended up happening was that Hernichi basically pushed. Yeah, Hernichi basically pushed Sabris to kind of claim the rest of Andorn and kind of take up that mantle. And at the time, you had Heli with Amovia, and Ryzan was trying to get involved again in the situation, all trying to carve up Andorn at the same time. Oh yeah, it ended up being pretty funny. And this was when Sabris renamed itself to the Holy Sultor Empire, basically. This is when like we get the orange flag with the black eagle. This is like HSC name, and like this is when on the maps, if you look back on the maps, everything in Andorn is disputed. Everything.
Himo, here's a great thing. Me and Shadow were very anti-HSC. Yes, I'm very happy that Hearn is, what's it called? A text neutral message to me. Because if it was presented in any other way, I probably would have been really mad.
Oh yeah.
Because when Indominus messaged me, actually no, I think it was Diorite who messaged me, and then he brought in Indominus, and it really seemed like Diorite was the one driving the conversation with the brains and had the brain cells, and
Oh yeah.
Indominus was more of his servant, but still served as his overlord or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
Diorite.
they came to us, or they came to me, and we're like, oh, I don't even know. It was something silly, and I was like, no, you'd have to divert your full loyalty to the Emperor.
Basically, it wasn't the original Andorn culture. This is kind of like the
This is
post Hemo and Bardonia.
this is post original Andorn.
So
What I
this is
mean by
like
that are the original people like Hunt, Hemo, Thunder, Crow, and they're basically gone, almost gone, except for Thunder. Thunder is in the background, and sometimes I defer certain people to him because he owned Areska, and that held a lot of provincial territory. So I wanted to buy more territory. I deferred him to Thunder. I don't remember if Thunder ever responded. Hearn, did he ever respond to that?
Thunder kind of went with it. I think. Like at the time, like what ended up happening was
he sold a very small amount of land.
Oh
Actually,
yeah.
not very small, but for 60k.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Let me get a screenshot and bring it over. Yeah, he sold this for 60. Everything in the purple was sold for 60k. It's so low res.
It's so low res. It's very low res.
Hearn, thank you.
Thank you, Hearn. But yeah, and just we're in
This is second generation.
Yeah, second generation Savirian era kind of thing. Okay.
Okay, I do have a story, and it has literally nothing to do with Stavros individually, but does have relation to the entirety of Andorn. There were some people. It was some PvP group nonsense, and earlier in the day they had got quashed. They got absolutely smashed in a little like skirmish in the wilderness of Andorn, or maybe even the wilderness of Bardonia itself. When they were banditing, they got beaten up by DH Viewed. I think I don't really remember, but I do know they got beaten up, and DHEO told them to come to me about the fact that they're squatting in my land because they were actually around pillars, and I don't even know now where they were, but when they were messaging me, they seemed very, or he who messaged me, he didn't bring any of his friends. He was very, very scared of me, as though I was a similar skill level to people like DHVO who had just beaten him up. Really sorry. We really want to leave. So, could you give us like a couple of days to leave? And I said, no, you have to leave now, and he did. So that was really funny.
All right. Well, early Stavros was it was really fun. Not gonna lie. Like me, Hernichi, the Worsian, a couple other like personal friends that we had, which we would bring on in the server, and then they would eventually leave and whatnot. But around this time, this is when we recruit. This is actually no. This is when I recruit Gribbet Games to Stavros. Oh yeah, like the original, the origin story of Gribbets. Gribbets originally came from Stavros. Okay, basically, it's Gribbets has done a lot, but basically the entire thing started like the Gribbet moment meme. That all started in Stavros when Gribbets was trying to shoot me with a bow and arrow and continually missed, and when I was right in front of him. He was trying to hit me. And
Another
it
Gribbets
was
moment would be just breaking one by one holes through walls.
oh yeah, that and another funny story, but that's a little bit later after Andorn Crisis is done. But this is like the origin of Gribbets, where the Gribbet moment came from. And it's just spread all throughout the continent of Siltor and even beyond. It's grown. It's grown. Yeah, like it was funny stuff. You had things where, oh yeah, Gribbets tried to make a church, like an underground church, like a mole rat church under all the houses. Like not like it wasn't like mole rat church kind of thing, but it was like some weird religion thing in which me and Hernichi, and I think the Worstian was also there. Like we went, found it, and we're like, no, heresy, and we condemned it to heresy. It's still there. It's still there in Stavros. People can still visit it. Like, but it was like just
The
early
Stavros
Stavros.
Church of the First Pilgrimage.
Yeah, it's now
Previously
the
heresy.
Stavros Church. Stavros Church of the First Pilgrimage. It was under the town. It was under like a bunch of the housing districts, like the old housing district. Old Stavros looks nothing like new Stavros, like Stavros is today.
Underground, there's a little chest with a cross. There's a cross on a sign above it. Under it, there's a cross, and below it, on the sign, there's below it, on the chest, there's a sign that says donations.
Donations for Jesus. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So Andorn Crisis, all that kind of. Oh, okay. At the time, Stavros kind of started becoming like Savirian culture was more of like a Western European, Central Europe kind of thing. So kind of Germanic. So like Dutch, German architecture kind of stuff.
Whereas Pillars was more of Western European, as in the French Western European.
Yeah,
Hemo, if you want to, if you want to confirm, you were taking a French classes at the time. Am I mistaken at all about that?
oh yeah. And actually, and the funny thing about, like, I'll mention this dynamic, and well, it's relevant now since we're kind of in the Andorn Crisis stage. This was when I met Lag Engineer up in Orlan, which is another city that was built. Which, yes, Lag Engineer, my homie, my friend, the greatest Belgian boy I've ever met. Lag is great, and this is when Orlan was basically Orlan was in Withamovian claimed territory. Like Withamovia claimed a bunch of Andorran
I'm
territory.
gonna make this clear. I never gave Wivamovia any pretense to any land outside of what they could enforce, and they
Yeah.
thought they could enforce all of that. It wasn't true.
Yeah, no. So they didn't actually control the territory, and Orlan ended up swearing loyalty to the HSC and like joined the HSC. And it was so at the time, like on the maps, it doesn't look like the map editors and
It
map
doesn't look
makers.
any different
Yeah.
because the truth is that everyone was claiming everyone and nobody knew who was trolling who anymore. So it took a long time for map makers to understand what was going on in Andorn. Andorn at that time would have been considered, as Kartek was to semi-modern Rathnir history.
Yeah, like it was a battle royale basically, and
Although I do want to mention that there weren't any battles during this time.
no, there was no battles. It was all over Discord and all just political maneuvering, all of it.
In place
And
of the strength of what the server is.
now, like some people also question, like, okay, so how did Savras / the HSE like become the most prominent, other than not doing what Livamovia did? Savras continued its ties to Bardonia afterwards, like after the entire like collapse of the empire in the first place.
I think another way to say the same thing is that it had a little less to do with Bardonia and a little more to do with the fact that there were a lot of countries and they all wanted to vie to be the successor to Andorn. And whoever owned the Pillars claim essentially owned Andorn, because I have this. There's this old saying that I've always spread around, and it's that Hemo was Andorn and Andorn was Hemo, and when Hemo left, or if Hemo left, or whatever government that his claim was loyal to was the Andorn, and I basically endorsed Savras and none of the others. And since I had the connections to Andorn or to Bardonia, that in turn is kind of like a feudalistic like swearing of allegiance. So if Savras swore allegiance to my claim, then my claim swore allegiance to Durastarok, which means it was all under Bardonia. But besides for that, after with the Ferryman War, right?
Yeah.
They continued following what I would say, and I was trying to keep Savras as the government of the entirety of Andorn, and eventually it won out because people outside of the Savras pillar sphere didn't want to challenge it, because there were still very people inside the pillars claim, and they didn't want to fight that.
Yeah,
Or they
and
just thought that the numbers of Savras itself, or it's just, no, I don't want to fight that.
yeah, and with Bardonia at the time, this was when Mobius was emperor, and Hernici also kind of brought me into Bardonia politics a little later on. But Mobius also started supporting us as well, and this was basically at the point where the very funny kind of event would go on every single day, that like Ryzan would come to us every day and ask for territory.
And
Every day.
This little ritual happened for about like a week or two, I'm
Like
guessing.
a couple weeks,
And,
actually. Like, Ryzan would come to us every day, ask for territory. We would say no, and then they're like, okay, see you tomorrow. Because they knew that they couldn't fight us because they thought Bardoni would come rolling in. They were right, because Mobius told me before that he was hoping that Ryzan was going to do exactly that. But like they were too scared to do so at the time.
Around this time, Hearn came back to me, and I was still extremely demoralized from the whole ferryman thing, and Vivamovia decided to ally with the ferrymen. So the ferrymen were still at large and dying to Frostmire, but that's not the point. We didn't even know about that. But Hearn came back to me and was like, "Hey, Reels, Ryzan is telling us to." Actually, if I go back into the DMs with Hearn, look at all these screenshots. Actually, no, that's not the right one. No, never mind. Might have been wrong. But he was like, Reels, they are not cool, you know? They are asking for our territory repeatedly every single day. And so I walked in, and I said, I don't still have that chat. Does that chat still exist?
I don't know if it still exists anymore.
Is it in the archive? It actually might have been in general. But yeah. I walked in and I told them to shut the fuck up if they couldn't enforce their claims. And they shut up. They didn't come back the next day.
Oh yeah, and just one more story just around this time. Around this time, we Savras kind of had like two sister cities / colonies that were right next to it. In my opinion, I didn't want them, but whatever. Like, it was Bordenhaven, which was led by the Worsian, which actually was great. Bordenhaven was wonderful for the time it existed, and also Veerwind, which there's there's a lot of funny things about Veerwind. Veerwind's first iteration was called Mexica. Yeah, but with an A at the end, Mexica. And the governor there was Diablo. And the thing with Diablo was that I'm pretty sure Diablo was a kid and knew nothing and built nothing, and all he did was make a wooden bubble. And yeah, basically made a wood bubble, and that was it. And eventually, we had him removed for incompetency. And it was really fun. It was really funny. It was really fun. We eventually tracked him down, brought him back to Savras, gave him a trial and everything, in Bordenhaven, and it was all just real big fun for us. So, but after Diablo, the guy who took up the land that was Mexico, Mexico's no more. So this was when Veerwind starts. Was King Azana. Charlie remembers Azana.
King. I think I posted in the really old hands Discord. I posted a screenshot of King Azana, talking like he knows everything about PvP. And basically, what he was suggesting us doing is trying to use my words against me, and taking my word out of context and trying to add it into a PvP relevant context, which wasn't at all what I was trying to say. But besides that, he was talking about using harming arrows as if they were the most efficient tactic in the world, and he was also talking about using knockback and an auto clicker in order to get in as many hits as he could with crits. And what he didn't realize
forget.
is
wait, Charlie,
crits were disabled.
Don't forget about the golden apple thing. Don't forget.
And also, he made a presumption in his tests, quote unquote, that apparently Hearn was a part of, and Hearn also said, "You're wrong. I didn't do that." Is that King Zana was using an auto clicker in order to time his hits, which is also against server rules. Luckily, he was on a test server. He was also using under the assumption that every person in any country will have a stack of apples, a stack of golden apples or gapples, everybody would have a stack of gapples, no matter who they were. And
Oh.
he made this assumption and said, well, basically, normal combat. Okay, remember, he was thinking that everyone also had knockback. He was like, all right, so we will never get enough hits on anybody in order to kill them, also ignoring the fact that he has knockback. And he was also using an auto-clicker. Hits on anybody in order to get enough damage to kill them. So instead, let's use harming arrows. And if he ignored the fact that you could just use a splash potion of healing to remove the instant harming, poison 2 or poison 1 is much better and gives them little ticks where they can't jump. So it would basically harm their ability to crit you. And it would also give you more control over the battlefield. But he was like, no. Must be harming arrows. Harming arrows are so great. They do so much damage to people in Netherite. And we were all at the same time going, what? And then I went on a rant about how he's completely wrong, and his tests, and like the results that he was getting was wrong. He was using an auto clicker, which he shouldn't do. The sampling was biased as well because they were only using stack counting for when you don't have stacks of gapples, and then he proceeded to try to get Shadow walked
No,
in,
yeah,
in.
I like bumped in because like Izana was being crazy, and what Izana did was that he
was try to fire.
No, he didn't try to fire. He fired me from my own military. He fired me from my own, like me and Haruchi's own military.
Here's a comparison. It's like if the who's right below the commander chief in the US military?
Vice president.
Okay. No. I'm thinking of like the actual military, not the government.
I don't even know. Okay, so second commander.
But it's like the chief of the army or whoever that is, trying to fire the vice president of the United States.
It literally was that, like, and that was, I think that was like the nail in the coffin for Izana.
Defense. There you go.
Yeah. That was like the nail in the coffin for Izana, and Izana was also eventually just removed.
He was removed shortly afterwards due to his idiocy, which I'm glad about.
Yeah, but
he didn't know what he was talking about. He thought that harming. Okay, his reasoning for it all working is that nobody, or the reason for it all working is like I've said before, all the shit he just came up with on the spot. And then I said, okay, if it works, why haven't we seen anybody do it? Which is a good question when talking about sampling data. And he said, well, nobody's ever thought about doing it the way I have. That was his reasoning for it working.
Yeah, it was all weird, but other than that, like, and by the way, Veerwind was actually pretty nice. This, like, Kirby Mojang was from Veerwind.
Yeah.
Wonderful person. Nicest person. The nicest person. Kirby is the nicest person you will ever meet. Like, just absolutely. Kirby is must be defended at all costs. Religion is a weird kind of thing because it's been kind of it's been a weird history. You get like we get the church. Yeah, we're going to touch on it. We get the Church of the First Pilgrimage. Yeah. SK, I will mention it later. I will mention and post the link later.
Early Andorn religion was a real roller coaster because Himo was trying to figure out what the fuck to do with it. And I presume Himo already had a rough outline of what he wanted to do. And while we were making for Himo, in order for us to go and break him out, we came up with church. So church is a statue called church. Church is a different thing. It's just the statue of a person. And that is the god. That's what we had come up with on the spot. And then, no, it's just church. No, it's just church. the statue and the
Just
god.
church.
Yep.
Just church.
It was really annoying. No, it was yeah, it is. It is church. Yeah. But it's a really annoying religion that was really funny. Take me to church. No, not the building. Later we incorporated Twig's Sans statue and where was it? It was far. It was northwest and or west of Pillars. I don't remember what it was called, but the same guy as Leafy Sheep, you may remember him, Uni. He made his little town there with his Swedish friends. I talk to them all the time. I actually came from a call in their Discord, but they made a little town there, and they made a Sans like 2D statue of Sans, so we incorporated that into the religion. I don't know how we did that. I don't remember what the lore behind that was, but we never really spread this religion. It never. We don't know. I don't know. No, I don't know what it was about. I don't know if it is about church. I don't know if that's like an idol. I have no clue. I literally don't know anything about that. But there was a yeah, that's basically what it is. But there was also a religion before this that Hemo was working on and he never released.
Apparently,
makes me
Alder Rash
sad.
picked it up.
Older Ash pretends to pick it up, maybe pretending.
Uh,
I don't.
I think
No.
it is called Pillars of Sun, isn't it? I think it's literally called
the Pillars of Sun was a religious site in the religion, but I'm not sure about anything besides that. Although when he did it, he came back to Rathnir a little bit after the Ferryman War. I don't remember. I don't even know. He came back for a little bit and he picked up a little Discord. Oh, there we go. Brain got a little article on it. But when they came back to Rathnir, it gave me a little insight into the religion and how the afterlife works. Is that all of them are spirits now. All of the characters like Hemo, Crow, Thunder, and whatnot are all spirits in this religion. And Hemo's the prophet, according to that wiki. And they're all spirits, and they don't speak the same language as the original language of Pillars, which did exist, and it's semi-related to the Savraean dialect. But they're spirits, so they can't talk to normal people. And I was the only translator. Yeah, it's not Sharian spirits because they were more observers. They were like eyes. There is a hole straight to the ground through the bedrock, and above it is barrier blocks, or are barrier blocks. So yes, it is a holy site, and it's built around this little pillar, as though it's like yeah, it's just above a little. I believe.
It's
I believe Green Tomato was there on his own, and the other one, there's only one other person I know that uses Invis and tries to kill people. And we both know who that is. So let's just say they are the same person, and Green Tomato was there on his own. I don't think there's anything that, mystical about the city, besides the fact that it is a very old city, and there's a lot of history there. Well, I agree. I wasn't saying mystical as in cool, like stuff like that doesn't happen, and it isn't some kind of part of the religion and whatnot. I'm just saying that I don't think Pillars as in the location it is on the map is anything special. That's what I meant. Yeah, I agree with that.
no chemotherapy. Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Ooh, that comes way later. That comes a little later.
That
Okay.
is very far down the road.
That comes very far down the road. Okay, yeah. So where we left off, basically the Andorn Crisis, well, the main part of the Andorn Crisis finishes off when Hernichi was like, okay, you know what? I'm tired of this. Yeets us back into Bardonia. So, just the HSC just straight up joins Bardonia. And also renames itself to, I think, the NSA. Like,
The North Sultor Administration.
Yeah, North Silitor Administration. And this was actually the time where Hernichi got me into Bardonian politics in the first place. So yeah, we had the NSA. We had the NSA, guys. And just after that, this kind of after several weeks, Hernichi would basically abdicate. Hernichi abdicates, leading Savras, and puts me in charge. Now, when that happens, we throw out a bunch of we put through a bunch of reforms and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, SK Horse posted an image of it in chat.
I mean, yeah.
But the entire thing, just the entire succession goes smoothly. We start reforming some stuff, and eventually, I think it was upon your request, Charlie.
You renamed it to Andorn.
Yeah, NSA gets renamed to Andorn again. So basically, Andorn to HSC, well, to HSC to NSA to Andorn again.
No, not to say that this is not to say that this is the same Andorn. This is Savras taking on the Andorn name.
This is
and
South
not to say that
Andorn.
there weren't other countries in not to say that there weren't other countries that were opposed to that were opposed to Andorn. Let's just say that they weren't able to talk anymore. Because Andorn,
so
Savras and
the moment
big for them
the
to stop.
HSC joined Bardonia, Mobius and the Bardonian government absolutely went ham on Wivamovia and then later Krezi to Heli, basically forcing them back into the fold. So the Andorn,
this is what caused them to.
I forgot to mention, the moment the HSC joined Bardonia, Ryzan immediately stops putting up a fight. Immediately drops it. Drops all claims, all the disputed claims on the map goes away. Yeah, no, Krezi did that to Heli. But Wivamovia was the one that, the Bardonian government and Mobius was involved.
After that, like I said, they couldn't talk anymore. They said that they wanted to go to Eldham, but let's just say the process to go get into Eldham didn't go smoothly, and we never heard them since.
Well, except for Direct Guest and Ben Builds, which were original, and I think Rook too. All those guys, original Wivamovians, they're in Andorn today. Actually, they came back, and oh, crazy man is yelling Wivamovia. The Wivamovia was funny because they really tried to finagle their diplomacy.
They tried everything they could to stay independent. If this meant in inopportune times allying with the ferrymen and allying with Viadoxa, allying with all the rest, but the ally with the youngest people they knew.
Yeah.
And it included. And for that time, that caused a stop in what we were doing, because as their ally to the ferrymen, we couldn't really attack them because the ferrymen had already stomped literally everybody else in existence except for Frostmire. But we didn't know about that.
Yeah, and basically then Wivamovia then decided to become a Bardonian vassal to try and save their skins, because they knew that at the time Severus's government,
if they swore allegiance to New Durastarok, they might be able to come out of the next empire phase alive and in a stronger position than Ryzan, or than Savras. But unbeknownst to them, Savras would continue to grow, and this is probably the fastest phase of growth, I believe.
At one point I think we had over 20 members in just Severus alone. Yeah. Like but yeah, Heli and Wivamovia, during the time that Andorn rejoined Bardonia, Heli and Wivamovia would be kind of reclaimed and reintegrated into the administration. And at this time, which if you ever look at the provincial, like the provinces of the Bardonian Empire at the time, Andorn was half before the Ryzan War, the next Ryzan War. Before that, Andorn was like half the empire, and it wasn't split into provinces, and it actually kind of ran itself. And I forgot to mention, during this time, Asconia, like all the Vale Wars were happening. Asconia leaves Vale, joins Bardonia and Andorn at the same time. This was original Asconia, with King Theoden and stuff. Based man. And in turn, they immediately war decked Vale again to conquer them. And this was when you get the 069 War, which is hilarious. Basically, sadly, I wasn't involved. Mobius was actually there.
I was the one involved in this. Mobius was not.
Well,
Okay. I told him as King Theoden to make a ticket in the Hands Discord to get some help. And Mobius was the one that mostly handled a lot of the big things in that ticket, but I'm the one that told him to look there in the first place. If I didn't tell him that, he wouldn't have known where to look. He might have hired some other people, or maybe not. He might have just tried to fight it on his own, using whatever resources that he could get from the Empire. But he opened up the ticket, and fortunately, Yaki, DHVO, and Dado were online to answer the call when Mobius added them in the ticket, saying, "All right, it's time, boys." So they got on, and they triddented over and killed a large, not a large majority. They killed everyone there.
No, they killed everyone there multiple times.
People.
And the funny thing about this,
some of those people are part of the modern day thing. Some of them, I don't know how many, and I don't know who, but some of them continued on to be in the old thing.
But basically, the people, the 069 War, that entire thing. The funny thing about that was that Vale was being supported by like a mega alliance called Cato, and so Cato sent troops, still lost completely, 0-69, and the dudes, like, this war completely collapses alliance. The alliance ceases to exist after this. So Vale is conquered, and but sadly, eventually, when Eldom comes out, the people in Asconia leave to go to Eldom.
And Theoden created what is now the Razuni Sultanate. He no longer leads it, but he is the founder of that.
Yeah, he is a founder of that. And so basically, with this, like during this time, Andorn has pretty much reclaimed almost all of its former territory, and even a little bit more, including Vale. Because Vale was put under Asconia, which was under Andorn.
Oh, I just remembered something. So you know where modern day Sabras is, right? I'm pretty sure everyone here knows where that is. Yeah, that was conquered in a war.
Yeah, like all that like southern Andorn was conquered from Norththorn, actually.
Andorn, or the Pillars of Sun, the ship, the big one, the big dictator with thunder, potassium, crow spork, and conquered lots of Norththorn land, but leaving Norththorn alive in where it is now. And now, here's a little interesting side bit. Norththorn has more territory than it did after this war right now, because Coffee asked me if Norththorn could have that small little strip at the end of
to the world border. That's how Norththorn's borders are now, actually.
But originally, all of that was conquered from Norththorn. Now, gladly, the dictators understood the very, very stupid thing to just conquer all of Norththorn outright, because they liked the guy Hagley, who ruled Norththorn, and I like him. He helped me with a lot of squatter problems.
Yeah, well, we'll take a moment and just Hagley, baseman, respect. Yeah, Hagley's a baseman. Shout out for Norththorn. The one shout out during the Andor. Yeah, Norththorn has been like what people have described as the Switzerland of Sultor, which is true. It's completely true. And actually, like recently, they have exploded in population apparently, and so yeah, like they're doing great for themselves now. But yeah, for early Andorn, the entire southern bit of Andorn was conquered from Norththorn, like where Savage is actually today. That was original Norththorn territory. But that was way even before my time.
Towards the end of me owning Pillars, and while it was still under Uni's original Bardonia, when he took it over to protect it from the spirits, SK joined, and I was just running around with a couple of other people in full netherite, and he came along, and I think I almost killed him, but he asked to join, and we accepted. So
Yeah. Well,
real cool kid bump.
Then where was I? Oh yeah, Asconia. So we're now.
I didn't do that. I don't remember doing that.
No,
I do not remember telling you to give me gold.
But
I don't remember anyone being. I don't remember asking anyone to give me gold upright.
Yeah, and okay, where was it? Oh yeah, Asconia. With Asconia, like with Theoden and others leaving, this was like second and third empire. So Mobius, and then eventually you, Uni, as the prophet. Like so Andorn continues to develop. It creates like a provincial system, all that kind of stuff. More population, more like squatter cities integrated. And at this time, after the original Sconians leave, I put in place. This was where I eventually recruit Captain to Andorn, and I put Captain in charge of Asconia and Lupercalia, and which Lupercalia was then renamed to Salkar for a little bit. So we are now in, like, I think third empire stage. So after the Ryzan War, which by the way, the Battle of Tossograd, best battle I've been in, best one by far. It was so fun. It was a blast. That war was best for both sides because everyone had fun. Everyone fought hard. It was crazy. Uh, it was great. Sadly, there's wars don't end up being like that much anymore. No, Athos was salty. Yeah.
Hey, Uni, I'm mad at you. You told me not to take all of Athos' stuff. I could have had all of Volcor, everything that it ever had, and it could have been under my thumb, and you just said no. No, this is when he was a part of the Hands. I could have had it all.
Oh yeah.
Should have just let me have it. God.
But yeah, at this time,
the one time I should have just ignored you and took it all.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit actually. So we're now in Third Empire, and so Captain's in charge of Asconia. And by the way, Captain's out actually great dude.
Hands don't steal
We've
from
had
other
a couple
hands.
things happen, which I'm going to bring up in a little bit, but great dude. And this was actually when Katna in turn would recruit who are now today are now the leaders of Asconia now. So Server and Coop, which their IGNs is what? Yeah. You're drawing Server right now, and then Coop, which is IGN, is Cope Dog. They're these are goblins. The goblins have shown up. This is their entrance.
The goblin army is approaching from
the goblin
west.
army is approaching from the west, and absolutely wonderful dudes. Trolls, yes, but they're funny, they're great, and they're fun.
Please don't raid anybody at our empire. Sorry, that's a no can do.
And they also do a lot of RP, but Cope Dog.
No.
Which I find to be a wonderful idea. Yes, Coop, you are famous.
Is that Coop Dog?
Congratulations. And
I don't think that's the right one.
I don't know actually. I don't know. Coop, what is your skin supposed to be?
Coop, what is your username? What's your actual username?
It's Cope Dog. It's Cope Dog. It's supposed to be a pigeon. This is the first time I'm learning about it. Oh no.
Why was it
Server's just finding out. This is how the modern the foundations of the modern Asconia province is laid out. And then elsewhere in Andorn you have Drolahad, which they were up in where Heli used to be, and basically they were squatters, and they actually joined up immediately and became kind of principality province zone. Which Cultist Bread, the guy who originally led it, he's still around in Andorn today. Also wonderful dude. Based man, stuck around for a long time even when he's taking breaks. And well, he didn't stick around. He doesn't always chat a whole lot. lots of radio silence from him, but wonderful dude, shows up every now and then. And but basically this now brings us so I'm in charge. We get there's a couple of reforms and kind of stuff and other people working, but at this point Andorn is pretty decentralized. And that brings us up to the Coalition War, which
So
Uni and I both know very well what happened.
I have a comment concerning why they attacked Pillars. And it's not because Pillars is like the old city or whatnot, blah blah blah. Wait, hold on. Be right back.
Oh, I guess I'll just continue. But basically, this was when I was in Grand Council, except at the same time wasn't a Grand Counselor because I didn't fit in any position really. Isn't that right, Uni? Like, I was basically the Grand Counselor that wasn't the Grand Council. And when the Coalition War happens, we get days notice on it, several days notice on it. And I did not sleep a wink that night. Actually, I did not sleep. And the entire time, I was going through, okay, wait, so they're attacking Core Bardonia. It sounds like from people that I have ratting to me in the coalition itself that they're going after Core Bardonia. We're fine. We're okay, and we're going to fight and whatever. And then I get the news that they declare war on Pillars of Sun. Which and that entire thing was Alamein. That was pretty much Alamein. Talking with Mock, Mock is a guy, a wonderful administrator from Ryzan. He's sadly no longer here. But he told me that he basically left the conversation for a little bit when they were discussing war targets. He comes back and they're like, we're declaring war on Pillars of Sun. So why, I don't know. I'm pretty sure the only reason that they declared war on it was because there were quote-unquote hands in it, and they were trying to quote-unquote distract the hands. Which doesn't make any sense. No, it doesn't make any sense. Well, yeah, they were blowing stuff up and looting it, and not to mention the hands at the time abandoned the Bardonian Empire. They just straight up. They straight up abandoned us, and they still attacked Pillars because the coalition still attacked Pillars because they're quote unquote hands in it. Well, yeah, of course, because it's Pillars. There were a little bit, but one or two people against the entire group. In fact, they more. Apparently it wasn't Howard brings up that some people say that it was a mistake that they did / war declare Andorn.
I was gonna comment on that, but I had to go order some chicken. Hopefully it'll be good. But the reason why they declared war on Pillars is because the Andorn in-game nation claim was there was only one nation in it. There was only one town in it because Hemo made a nation called Andorn, and that's all it was called. So they did do / declare war Andorn because they couldn't find the original city.
Yeah, no, they tried to declare war on all of Andorn, but at the time, this was when. Yeah, at that time, we also got to remember that no one wanted to in the Bardonian Empire wanted to put on their lands into a nation claim because it makes us super vulnerable. Yeah, Andorn didn't do it. Now you kind of have to, but
now
back
now
then,
it's now I think it's better because they have to siege
They
what
have to
is
siege down
specified to
single
be
city.
the fort city. They have to siege that.
Yeah, but like that's yeah. Yeah, and basically, so they instead of going after all of Andorn, they're going after pillars, and the other reason they're like, okay, oh, we just declare war on pillars. Oh, hey, there's hands and pillars. We'll keep the war
Oh
going.
hey, look, it's Brett. Hey, look, it's Dex. Wait a minute, those people aren't hands. That's when you know you. That's when you know you fuck up when Brett appears at a war. Brett is one of the most chill people ever.
Oh,
Yeah, but
yeah,
it's
yeah, I
easy.
remember him.
It's
Like
easier to
I,
call
I
him
showed up
Brett.
to pillars like before the battle because like sadly IRL responsibilities prevented me from going to any battles at the time, and not to mention I was like anxiety attack, like big scary
You don't know
coalition.
what's gonna happen
I
afterwards,
don't know
man.
what's happening. Like, and basically the Alamein and coalition forces get wiped out at pillars. They do. Like, they cause
However,
damage. They still cause damage to pillars, and they still
I
lose
was
some.
I was in a call with all of them, and then somebody from the other side of the war in New Astaroth, who was running away from them, came into the call and said they are coming to pillars. Literally the entire military, including the strong people from Ulfang and all, coming down upon the city.
Yeah,
And
so basically, they call like the Alamein and Ryzani forces that went to pillars got beat up so bad that they had to call for reinforcements. Pillars was like the one place that actually put up a staunch resistance, and it wasn't. And like a little thing, Pillars wasn't really Andorn, nor was it Bardonia. It was neutral.
it was declared a free city by you.
Yeah, by me actually.
No, not just by you, but by Uni.
Like
It
by
was Uni.
yeah, and I also agreed with that. Like it was neutral. It was its own thing. Well,
What we
it
should
also
have,
made no
in
sense.
hindsight, what we should have done is gotten Hemo to declare Pillars independent as a small little city-state, kind of like Vatican City. We should have done that in hindsight. We wouldn't have attacked it in that way.
No, they probably still would have attacked it because of hands. They well,
Um,
yeah, well, yeah, actually, and at the time, uh, yeah, and with the battles of New Rock and Pillars of Sun like wrapping up, I then went to Uni, and I asked permission for Andorn to leave the Empire and save as much as it could, which I like. You agreed. Like I don't know how you were feeling at the time. Like on like yeah, like yeah. So I asked for permission to leave, and I was granted. Yeah, and following Andorn, I think Halligan Astoria also went. Yeah, which oh, real quick mention of Halg. Halg is based, popular, absolutely a based man. He's currently the Prime Minister of the Three Thrones. Absolutely wonderful. But back on topic. So Andorn like leaves the Empire in like the post Third Empire hellscape that is Sultor, which is just going insane. It really hit the fan. like at least the eastern part of Silitor just collapsed. And then like you had Yazov and other people like with the Bardonian state, which wonderful job. Wonderful job actually like restabilizing stuff, and actually like Andorn troops were sent to just beat up the squatters that were trying to leave Bardonia at the time. And then like but never mind about that. All that kind of stuff is now outside of Andorn. So we're now in just Andorn is now independent and all that kind of stuff. But the issue that Andorn had was that it still had really reformed after its leaving of the empire. Like before, it didn't really matter because like the main Bardonian government was the thing. But now it's Andorn by itself, and there's no like reforms or like that kind of thing. It was like absolute monarchy with like a couple extra people that had positions like provincial representatives and that kind of stuff. And something that I had, which were called archons, which I appointed and all that kind of stuff. But it was pretty authoritarian, not gonna lie, and not a whole lot changed for a while. And actually, I didn't know anyone wanted change up until I started getting like people started ratting to me and telling me days beforehand that people really wanted change. Krezi, I'll answer that question right now. Actually, not many Bardonians fled to Andorn, not gonna lie. Not many. In fact, we had a couple Andornians leave to Bardonia because they identified as Bardonian. But which makes sense. Big empire, people join to be in big empire, that kind of thing. But they're sadly not with us today, I don't think. And so I start getting word that people want change. And this is like, we are now getting into what I like to call the second Andorn Crisis, where people are trying to coup me. So the entire plot kind of unravels and like I learn all about it almost like several days beforehand from a couple people throwing me a bone. And then a couple people that were in the entire conspiracy then telling me. And I basically what ended up happening was that the coup was being led by, like, I'm going to just mention them now, Jingo and Katna. They were the leaders of the coup, and they were like organizing it and all that kind of stuff. And they had a couple issues, and several other people also had some issues, which Patches will grab some memes from the time. But that kind of stuff was just people believing like no reforms happened, all that kind of stuff. So when I heard about it, my immediate thing was that I went to everyone individually. Everyone. Well, yeah, like I wanted to know what their problems were, all that kind of stuff. How could I fix this? What do you want? Like, this is the first time hearing of it. And I hear what I need, like what people want, and I'm like, that's completely agreeable. Why did you ask me beforehand? And so, like, I put out an announcement. Hey, all of these reforms that you guys wanted, done. It's here. They're here now. I'll put them into practice, and we'll have like we'll write our own constitution, kind of thing. But at the time, Django and Katna weren't satisfied, and they pushed for my removal. Now, at this time, like, I was kind of like, okay, I did my best shot. I talked to everyone individually. I gave like people what they were wanting and needed. but I guess this might be it.
You can't please some people.
Yeah. And basically, I put out a message saying, I'm done. Don't contact me, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And my foremost thought was like, okay, if I'm going to go out, I'm going to do it without causing a civil war. I don't want to cause a civil war. Well, yeah, no, like that's the thing. That's the problem with That's the problem with when it comes to stoneworks and stuff. Military coups and civil wars, all they do is just destroy your own country. Because again, it's not the modern world. It's not like real life where you have multiple generations of people and people to replace other people and all that kind of other stuff. It's not that. It's like a close-knit community, which then you shatter, and then what? Everything dies. So my foremost thing was that I wanted to try and avert a civil war. The issue that came up was that everyone else that wasn't Katna and Django didn't want the coup to happen. And in fact, so you had people like SK Horse, which Salos, Brainstorm, Duel, Patch, Lag was there, Thunder was even there. They all came together and they were like, yeah, no, we don't accept with this. And in fact, what happened was this, some of the people here, they call it the 4-hour coup for a good reason. So for 4 hours, I gave Discord ownership to Lag Engineer. For 4 hours, they memed and they completely memed on Django and Katna for 4 hours. And also pretty much every province except for I think Benito's principality seceded to make seceded to make its own Andorn and put me in charge. and then at the time Django saw the writing on the wall, gave up immediately and killed his current character, came back with a new one which was called Bingo. And basically, with just like that, Andorn was just reformed. that was that was easy. So it just nonchalantly seceded to form your own Andorn and absorbed the rest. And Asconia was kind of the neutral thing.
It was in an intermediate phase.
It was kind of a couple places were still in the weird spot, but in the end, the coup basically means nothing. Katna also gave up after a little bit, realizing that not many people wanted to fight a war or wanted to go ahead with the coup thing. So there ends the second Andorn Crisis, and I will just say right now, Bingo and Kapna are wonderful dudes. There's no hard feelings whatsoever. Well, we've made up. No, not really. A lot of the people in Andorn were kind of stuck in Andorn at the time. Yeah, Bing Miss, which you know what? I will do anything in my power to make it a holiday. I will. Yes, but yeah. Just to reiterate, no one involving the coup, and then afterwards, there's no hard feelings whatsoever. They're great people. I wouldn't exchange them for really anyone. Actually, no, I wouldn't exchange them for anyone, really. And but basically, so after all this, Andorn kind of continues, and we form something called the Sultor League with Ryzan, the Volande, and several other Sultor nations, mainly as a defense against just foreign threats, because at the time YA seriously threatened to install Mystic as Tsarina. Yes. Yeah, Bingo's original name was Jenga. Yeah. Yeah, G-I. Well, no.
G.I.
J-I. Yeah, just change it to Bingo. Completely different person.
Different people, no relation to each other.
No relation. Well, apparently Bingo's Jingo's son, I guess. So some relation. Minor relations, you see. And just so now we get into the Silitor League kind of thing. And so the league was pretty much just like, okay, we don't like anyone outside of Silitor, really. And it worked, it was working up until Ryzan had its civil war, and at the same time, Kapna also came up again and formed his own squatter bandit settlement in Estonia, which was called Septa. Which server will remember this. Server will remember this as well. It was right next to Goblin Town, which I will just a tangent about Goblin Town. Goblin Town, wonderful place. Shout out for them. And at the moment, I think they are the number one most populated city in Bardonia, the entire empire now. So they deserve a ton of credit. Absolutely wonderful work. And so Goblin Town in Estonia, wonderful place. I would really recommend people actually don't visit it without asking you want to visit or whatever. Ooh, oh wait.
The Cum Cave. There was nothing really so during the Hemo period, in the intermediate part of the Hemo period where he was starting to leave, there was someone, I don't remember who they were, it might have been SK. They made a little cave underneath, so you know where the hole in the ground is. You know, the cage surrounding it, there is an inside area to that little cage. So inside one of them is an entrance to a cave, and in that cave is a little shop called I think it was called the Cum Shop. And then, that is the entrance to another part of the cave, which goes even further down. And at the bottom, there's a little bench there. And there was, I think, quartz blocks in the walls. It was called the Cum Bench, and there was the Cum Cave.
Oh boy.
You didn't guess. There's not really much to it.
Not a whole lot to that. Yeah. It's good meme. I've been in the cave before. I was trapped in it by Hemo. By Hemo.
Hemo.
Yeah.
Yes.
That did happen. Just don't think about it too much. But yeah. So where was I? Septa. And basically, so the Ryzan Civil War was happening.
I was trapped.
And Septa was happening. And basically, at that point, the Silitor League, Andorn and Ryzan, were going full doomer mode. We're dead. They're going to bring Allthing up here, which in reality, Allthing wasn't really supporting Kapna. They were supporting Astro in the Ryzan Civil War, but they weren't really supporting Kapna. I guess we didn't know that.
No, what the fuck? Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, just creeper explosion in the background. Nice.
Don't worry about it.
Oh boy.
Nope.
But
No.
basically, we went full Doomer mode, and at any rate, like eventually, Katna gave up that as well. Which I will still reiterate, Katna's a wonderful dude. It's all that kind of stuff's been made up for. Oh yeah, like I will have to mention this, otherwise Patch will kick my knees in. That Katna was actually trapped and killed by Withamovians in Hinamir. Yeah. Oh yeah. And basically, Katna at the time had a big thing against Patch, which it's not that's not really there anymore. I don't think. I hope they had a feud. They had a feud. They no wait. Can Patch come up for a second? He can explain it.
Am I up? Okay, so after how I believe the feud started is after Kapner failed in his coup and we kicked him out. He didn't even get kicked out, he just kind of left. He came back after he got his bandit tag and basically harassed us. It wasn't like quite harassment, but it was definitely pushing the limit. And so it got so bad that every time I would type in chat, he would show up at my town to kill me. So after 2 weeks of this, we figured, I wonder if we can use this to lure him into a trap. And so we saw him typing in chat one day. So Duel set up a falling gravel trap in Hinamir. And so we went over to Hinamir, and I typed in a global chat. Hinamir's looking pretty good. 2 minutes later, he shows up by himself. And we have one of the poor Hinamirians, I think it was QWERTY, stand on the gravel trap as bait. So Kapna, of course, as a bandit, is running around killing people, doing a raid, falls into the gravel trap, and none of us could beat Kapna in a 1v1. Absolutely none of us. Duel, maybe, if he got lucky, could perhaps beat Kapna, but we just murdered him in this berry pit before he could even realize what was happening, and we carted off a full set of netherite armor, a netherite axe, I think, a sword that he stole from Lucius, or Lucius gave him the sword and he didn't give it back, and a trident, and of course his head. Soon after that, he didn't even have the will to keep Scepter up anymore, and he kind of just gave up and left. Yeah,
will there kind of dropped.
I find most of the time, the people related or closely related to people like Ulfing, most of the time they don't die in a real PvP situation.
No.
They lose their will to continue doing whatever stupid random bullshit that they're doing that they're claiming is the great thing that they're doing. To do it because the fighting are on them.
But yeah, you can't get any worse than getting murdered in a berry bush, being lured out so predictably by one person saying one thing in a chat.
Yeah.
You can't really go down from there.
Yeah, after all that, Kapna kind of quit. Yeah, Kapna kind of quit for a month-ish.
The whole thing says that they have their high moments.
But
sometimes, but Kapna didn't have a high moment at all during this time. No highs, no lows.
But anyway, like Kapna kind of dropped off the face of the earth for a while. He eventually came back, which he's here now, in like Bardonian government, and actually has even returned to Andorn a bit. But all that kind of stuff, all of it's in the past. It's done. Like we've gotten over it. And Kapna's actually a really good dude. Wonderful dude. And but while Andorn was fortunate, Ryzan on the other hand wasn't so, as some people can remember, and Kreziman can attest to. Of which Astro and Krezi teamed up and won the Ryzan Civil War. and formed the greater Silitor Empire. Now, while this was happening, I will need to mention. So Andorn, when it became independent, was able to reclaim Dagul, Byzazon. I'm never going to say the name right. Bizazon, Dagul. It was able to reclaim it. And at the time, there were squatters in Arlenor, which we successfully were able to get to move to Dagul, and it was renamed Rectaria. And Rectaria is actually now there today. It's now its own province in Andorn and the Empire as a whole, and it's actually being led by Gummy now. Wonderful dude. Just wanted to give him a good shout out and all that kind of stuff. Rectaria is great, and I can actually pronounce the name. So I absolutely love the name change. But then now that kind of brings us up on the end of kind of the independent Andorn thing. And at the time, Andorn had a lot of paths they could choose, like either remaining independent or joining a union with another nation. Like even Aristeos threw their hat into the ring to try and get us. That wasn't happening. Sorry, Aristeos. Like, I love the propaganda, but it wasn't going to happen. But yeah, it was Arlenor and Bardonia. But in the end, the first kind of what's it called? Dang it, vote. Yeah, I'll just call it a vote. The first kind of vote kind of failed, in which Andorn chose to be independent, and we formed a alliance with Bardonia and the Greater Silitor Empire at the time. An alliance with them, friendship treaty, all that kind of stuff. And referendum. That's the word. Thank you, SK Horst. And up to the second referendum, which the second referendum was the one that actually succeeded. And at the second referendum, the wonderful thing happened of Kreziman singing Andorn Come Home, a parody of Derry Come Home. Yeah. And it was beautiful. Tugged the heartstrings. And I forget who was it. Howard? Yeah, Howard was the backup singer. Howard was the backup singer. The Shovel Knight himself, which shout out to Shovel Knight. Bassman. Love that dude. And so Andorn officially rejoins the Empire once again. Oh yeah, and like I had the Third Empire nostalgia going. Oh yeah. I nearly forgot this. Krezzy sold Howard. No, Krezzy sold Howard to the Asconian goblins for political capital. Krezzy sold Howard to Asconia. Yeah. Wait, Howard, how much were you sold for? Oh yeah, oh yeah, it was votes in the referendum. It was votes in the referendum, which was extremely funny, and Asconia proceeded to call Howard a slave for weeks. No, Howard, you didn't mind. Howard, you didn't mind, right? It was all fun. But can we get a Shovel Knight is based in the chat for singing backup to Andorn Come Home? Everyone had entered. Oh yes. No, but that's kind of the end of that was the end of the independent Andorn era. And so far, like Andorn it's been going along kind of the same. More reforms where we change up the government a little bit more. And honestly, it's been going pretty well. Like I absolutely love the Empire. I'm totally not biased. This is totally not a biased opinion whatsoever. No bias in my statement here. But I love the Empire. I love the fact that like now like we have Andorians, Ryzani, Bardonians, others like all working together and kind of like keeping the flame of like a united Sultor Empire together, like up. Absolutely love that. But that is pretty much Andorn, like the main points of like Andorn history, minus like other like funny stories and other things, which I still have plenty. Yeah, like we are now up into modern.
I'm gonna say the Capna coup confused me and a lot of other people for a long time. We thought Capna was in charge for a whole day.
He was for 4 hours.
I didn't realize until afterwards that Shadow, you actually fully left the Discord, not just handed
Oh no,
over.
I fully left. I like fully was intent.
Click
like, okay,
leave
I'm
Discord,
quitting.
confirm.
I'm leaving Star Wars Discords. Like I was piecing out, and like patch and lag like
Something
dragged
that
me
many
back.
leaders can't do.
They like dragged me back.
That's the context for that image, Uni, is we literally just pinged Lucius saying, "You're Emperor of Andorn, have fun." He had no idea, because he wasn't in the Discord, so he didn't see Kapna's, like, resignation.
No, like
And so
I
we just
saw
showed
none
up
of
to
it. I
Lucius
saw
in the chat, and
none
we're like,
of it.
"Here you go. You are now Emperor of Andorn again."
Oh yeah, there he is.
Oh yeah, there is.
Yes. Wait, server, you're picking the wrong Lucius. Server, you're picking the wrong Lucius. And I will just mention real quick, there was a Goblin Rebellion RP arc. It was actually fun. It was fun, and Goblin Town did win. Gribbets, Gribbets Games. Wait. Gribbets Games. I put it in no mic. Yeah, yeah, like yeah, like Goblin Town had its own Rebellion arc. It was really fun. We're actually like right now we're having another RP arc with like two noble families, like in Andorn. It's not it's not like political or anything. It's all RP. It's all fun. And but yeah, there's so much and I will mention like Uni, you said something about religion like a while ago. Andorn's been finicky on religion for a long time. Like we had like the Church of Pilgrimage. Charlie and I planned on like converting to Solianin and having Andorn being a Solianin state. That didn't.
Both of those things were made by me, by the way. I made a trek to the world border and called it the Holy Pilgrimage.
Yeah,
and the
like
whole idea
me,
behind it is that once in life you have to travel to that world border, the very same place we went to.
Yeah, like
And
it
then
was
the other one
me
was me
and
planning on getting Shadow to convert to Solianin, and therefore convert the rest of Andorn to Solianin, since there was no strong religion already, and
Gotcha.
do it all at the same time as the wedding, which didn't happen at that time. In fact, the wedding was planned for a long time, and we just didn't do it until recently.
Yeah, and Uni cutting corners now.
The budget got shorter. The budget got lower.
Yeah, and but basically, like now, like so, Andorn hadn't really had an official religion up until now, in which shout out to Salos SK Horse, based man as well, helped make Sanhet, and also I will not forget about Mog. Mog is cool. Mog is in Estonia, at which they worship Mog.
That whole operation was my idea. That's why I wanted to have a role, and then I looked at the application.
Wait, server,
like,
you forgot about your own god?
And then it.
Server forgot.
I looked at the application to join the religion, and it said you have to dedicate some of your time to this, and I was like, nah, I'm not doing that.
Server, how could you forget about Mog?
I've stayed Rathmir sober for a long time, and I'm not gonna just go back in head first.
All right.
I did.
No, that's no. Like the actual tip. Basically, what ended up happening was that the current flying mortal horse of Severus, Borealis, or some people also call him George, Yeza. Basically, what happened was that the admins were fucking around, and what they created was.
I was actually there for the call.
Yeah,
I actually was in the call with them.
This horse, horse is immortal. This horse cannot die.
Uni.
I
was in call with Hub when he did this, and it was in Dankbard as well. Yeah, it was in Dankbard, and we were just touring the Andorn countryside, and I don't know who.
Hub
Yes, he did. He summoned it.
Like Hub made it, and then he forgot it existed. And the thing is, it was wandering around. It wandered into Severus.
Yeah, because we were going to Severus. I was showing them the entire region, because Brett had some questions about the region, and I don't know who it was with that Hub was fucking around with. I think it was Penn. He was fucking around with Penn, and he summoned this horse, and he went to the MC stacker and gave it a shit ton of. Don't know what buffs he gave it, but he did give it a shit ton of buffs.
He gave it max buffs. He gave it everything.
And he just left it there, and he forgot to remove it. And Rum Knight tried coming around to get rid of it, and he failed, and he was like, oh well.
No, what ended up happening was that, me and also, another call-out, Sphinx, he's not on the server anymore, really, but still, shout out to him. Wonderful dude, great friend. We found the horse, and when we found it, I'm like, yo, hey, wait, there's a horse here. I get on it, and I jump once with it, and it launches me into space. It just launches me into space. And I think Bingo was also there. But
the fact that this all originates from Hub.
Yeah, I think Bingo witnessed
so much better.
This horse has jump boost. It will launch you into space. Literally, really. I'm not Redfire Rex. I'm calling you out right now.
Andorn.
I'm calling you out right now. Your rocket means nothing.
We go to the moon and back in one trip with one jump. It's funny that the innovation for space travel comes from Andorn, just like when Hemo went up in tried to go up in a rocket when we were attacking Rextown.
Yeah, you see that's what you were missing. You were missing this horse. You were missing I know I'm.
It didn't
I'm slapping.
That was 7 months before that happened. It was 7 months prior to the horse.
I'm sorry, Redfire Rex. But eat your heart out. Andorn Space Program. The Warskian. Don't forget about him. Wonderful man. Original Cyber Sky. But basically then after discovering the horse, I was like, okay, what the hell is this horse? I report it to admins, and Rum Knight comes around. And Rum Knight basically comes around, tries to kill it, And it's like, okay, wait, why isn't it dying? He enchants his sword, sharpness 250, one shot to anything really. Hits the horse, nothing. Nothing. This horse.
Because in the stats for MC Stacker, there is a clause that says invincibility, which means the entity does not register hits.
It will take damage, and it will sometimes it'll show.
Yeah, that's still what I mean. It just doesn't register. It sets any damage it does take to 0.
And so Rum Knight eventually gives up. And what Rum does was that he's like, okay, this thing is too dangerous to keep on the ground. We both agree, this thing is too dangerous to keep on the ground. It is a danger to society. So what Rum does is that he puts it into the sky, surrounded by barrier blocks.
The flying horse. The fact that this is all Hub's fault makes it so much better.
It's all Hub's fault too. And I remember I contacted Hub when he I found out he made it, and he's like, "Oh shit, it's still there." I forgot.
I don't think there's anything you could do now.
No,
besides one of Enfys's many infamous entity wipes, that would have gotten rid of it.
Oh. Yeah.
So if you were online and Enfys did an entity wipe, he even did it after he lost ownership of the server. He did a few of them. Luckily, you weren't online and with the chunk loaded the horse, because that would have actually killed it entirely. Because that's a server run command. It ignores all effects. It just kills it instantly. So be careful. Just keep that chunk out of your render distance, just in case anybody runs that command at all.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. I gave you content.
Content.
No, make it separate parts. Make it separate parts. There you go. Andorn's Pod.
Maybe one of them, and they would have 70 views, and the other ones would have 1 or 2.
Okay. Yes. What?
I just came in here to say hi.
It's the special guest back
We're
to
talking
the hub.
about the horse. The horse.
The mortal horse.
The horse you made in Andorn. There is a horse that you made that's invincible.
Oh shit! I forgot I left that there.
That was the same reaction.
That's the same reaction.
Zombie horse,
That's the
right?
same reaction.
No, it's not a zombie horse. I was trying to make a horse with maxed out stats because we were dicking around, and I left it there.
Oh, you were dicking around with Pen, right?
Yeah, I couldn't kill it. It was unkill. I couldn't even use commands to kill it. It was weird.
Because weren't you using MC Stacker?
Yeah.
There's a clause in there when you click on invincible, it just won't kill it.
Yeah, I forgot to do that.
But luckily, it's not been deleted yet, and it's the centerpiece of.
Yeah.
Oh,
I have a question for you, actually. It's a serious question. For the little bit where you're talking about in one of your videos when you were talking about the tournament that me and Brett hosted, you put DHVO as the 3rd place winner. Yeah. Yeah,
That was Dax.
Third place
that was Dax. Yeah.
Yeah,
it was Dax.
Remember, yeah, Dex was the one who threw me into the losers bracket, and then I fought my way out of that and fought Brett, and then he whooped my ass at the end. I was more just asking why, but
Let me speak.
Oh, you're muted.
How it do?
Hello, Ian. Welcome.
I'm doing great. I would just like to go on a rant really quick because I was listening in earlier. It was great content. I gotta say though, Chad, you missed out on a major part in the Diavolo trial. The fact in which it was incredibly rigged, which I have no problem with. What's important is that you...
Yes, so of course it was rigged. What do you think? Yeah.
Alright, so here's the thing. You described the trial as being, as I quote, in Savras. Now, you would be completely wrong. It was
said in Bordenhaven. I said
a
Bordenhaven.
swamp in Bordenhaven. Objectively the greatest city ever built. Now,
No bias.
so, effectively, the trial went with every single active citizen of Savras, Veerwind, and Bordenhaven coming together to tell Diavolo that he was going to die after hurling vulgarities and insults at him, which led Yaike to draw his attention to us and help us bully him in a cave in, I believe it was Alderash.
I think it was Alderash.
This then got to the point that we trapped him inside of a wooden and cobblestone box in which Svinix, I believe it was, it could have been Shad,
No, it's fine.
placed sweet berries in every single block where he wasn't. And then once he was down enough, we just took a few hits with a few swords. And I believe it
No, Diavolo. It was Diavolo. No, Diavolo.
the child.
Oh, the berries of Andorn are dangerous, Uni.
It's a tradition.
And also the guy who took credit for it.
Well, all I'm saying is that, Shad, it is a crime that you missed out on the fact that we bullied a man to death with fruit.
Like, I mean, we bully many people to death with fruit.
That's true, but this was so important that we had a holiday named after it.
I actually, which does remind me, there is, like, we've been trying to bring up a holiday again for the rest of the Empire called Victory Day. It stems from Diablo's trial.
Not only did it stem from his trial, it stems from the day that we hoisted his head up on a castle, which lasted for about 2 months. Actually, I think it lasted until Bingo redid it.
It's Hernichi.
Hernichi, man.
It's Hernichi, yeah.
I have Hernichi in the room with me.
The boys.
Oh, Shad, have you told the story yet on the stolen helmet of Ryzan?
Ooh, actually, I haven't.
You know what?
Go ahead.
All right. All right, that sounds like a bueno idea. So, essentially, our grand, glorious leader, supreme leader Hernichi, right? All revered, everybody loved him. With one notable exception, that being the entire nation of Ryzan. Now, so one day, I believe he was walking around Yornsoul on his way to Parthia, but I could be wrong. When a Ryzani bandit jumped him and took our helmet, our glorious helmet. It didn't really have many good enchants, but it was a symbol of the nation. Essentially, yeah. This led to about 2 weeks of negotiations in which they decided to not give it to us, so we had to make a replica. Very frustrating. So exactly, and I believe this was
It's sort of like mirrors.
This was a direct domino that led to the Ryzani War.
Oh yeah.
Indefinitely.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah.
This is what caused the Ryzan War.
Exactly. And Chad, if you don't mind me asking, did you mention New Savras?
New Savras actually forming. I was going to do it, but like New Savras and when talking about Grimm's a little bit, but we're sadly kind of running out of time.
Yeah. I was
Which
TLDR.
you know what? I will instead write down the funny Gribbet story and New Savros. Oh yeah, no, New Savros is a province. It's part of Ostia, which is also Pernicia, Ostia, whatever. Like
Yep.
New
As a-
Savros is that colony in the Republic. Oh, okay. Well,
All right. You
you
guys have fun with that. I love and appreciate you all. I'm gonna go.
all right. Bye,
See
huh?
you, Pigeon.
Also, Brandon, we should play VR chat later.
But
All right.
oh my goodness. Yeah. So basically, New Savros is, remember that colony that you let well, wait, I think Mobius let us have in San Republic, which was originally called a name that I will not repeat now, just in case.
We had to change the name. because
Thessalocracy?
of-
We had to change the name because the staff didn't like it.
It was something very far right called
It
was Thessalocracy or something.
It was something.
Something to
It
do
was
with
just
the
called
Navy
Osland.
ruling all of.
But
Oh,
basically, Grievous was the original governor of it, which
Revolt, which lasted about 2 hours.
of which it ended when Grievous walked into Savros, expecting us not to kill him. So, Gribbet moment.
It was.
Obligatory.
Obligatory Gribbet moment, of course. But this new Savros colony was actually reclaimed after the fall of the Third Empire, of which nowadays Ian here is now in charge of.
I am after a bloody coup.
Yes, a very much bloody coup of just telling Hernichi no.
My food's here.
Hey, we got him up to the mountain and killed him. Don't just say we told him no. With all due respect, man, because I know you're right here. You got trolled the fuck up.
All right, and that's basically New Savros. Oh, weird. Wow, there's so much more. There's so much more. Too much time.
What we can like 4 hours.
Well, I think we're done.
The rest of the history is just Chad dunking on everyone in the East.
Yeah, you see, Uni, I'm ballin'.
Here and say we have the complete history book.
The complete history book is just a bunch of pages of me playing basketball.
All right, let me on.